I'm Shreya.
And I'm Sean.
And we're in Iceland. Hey everyone, welcome back to SS Productions.
This video is going to be a little bit different because we're doing a travel vlog.
We're headed to the airport right now and we hope you guys enjoy the video. After hours of travel, we finally landed in Iceland. We're starting our journey in the capital city of Reykjavik, where we're going to explore the town and visit some popular sites. Right now we're in Hallgrímskirkja, probably the most famous church in Iceland. It's known for its amazing, breathtaking architecture that represents basalt columns.
Inside the church, you can see a huge pipe organ mounted on the wall, which was really cool.
You can also purchase a ticket to go to the top of the church, and I would highly recommend this, as we got to see amazing panoramic views of Reykjavik.
Next, we went to Harpa Concert Hall, which has a beautiful glass facade.
And just a short walk from there was the Sun Voyager sculpture. Finally, we walked to the iconic Rainbow Street, and on the way there was a bunch of really cool street art. And this was something we actually saw very commonly in Reykjavik. We didn't get footage from our room in Reykjavik, but we stayed at Ray Apartments. Day 2. Today we traveled from Reykjavik to Selfoss on the Golden Circle route. This is an easily accessible round trip from Reykjavik.
Our first stop today was Thingvellir National Park, where we saw the first waterfall of our trip, Oxarafoss.
And what a waterfall to start off with. It was so picturesque, and the way the water cascaded onto the rocks was so pretty.
We also did some additional hiking trails at Thingvellir. Our next stop was Geyser,
where we were welcomed by bubbling mud pots and steam shooting out of the ground. Here we visited the Geyser, which goes off every 4 to 10 minutes, and everyone was standing there with cameras ready to capture the big blow.
We saw the geyser erupt 3 times, and it was equally amazing each time. Next, we went to Gullfoss, which is one of the biggest waterfalls in Europe in terms of volume.
There are multiple viewpoints to see this waterfall, and you can actually get pretty close to it. Our final stop on the Golden Circle was Carid Crater, which is this bright sapphire lake surrounded by red volcanic rock. The array of colors here just seemed unreal.
You can walk around the crater from the top or bottom, and we chose to walk both paths.
We ended the day in Selfoss, where we had the most delicious ice cream at Isbuahuppu, and we stayed the night at Country Dream Guesthouse, which is located on the outskirts of the city. We really enjoyed our accommodation, which was a separate cottage room that had lots of space.
But our favorite part of the cottage was definitely the private hot tub. What a great way to relax after a long day full of activities.
On day 3, we went from Selfoss to Vik and officially started our route on the Ring Road. We started our morning off with some tasty pastries from Almar Bakari. I got a cinnamon bun and a Swiss mocha, and it was delicious.
The first attraction of the day was Seljalandsfoss, a super tall waterfall that you can walk behind.
Right next to Seljalandsfoss was another waterfall called Gulfrabui, and it was inside of a cave. You will get wet at Gofrabui, so make sure you have proper rain gear, but it was such a unique experience that you should not miss out on. The drive to our next location was so pretty, and as we soon discovered, on literally every drive we were flanked by unreal scenery.
You could say that today was our waterfall day because our next stop was another waterfall, Skogafoss. We had the best weather here and we were treated with so many rainbows. There are 425 steps you can climb to get to the top, where you can get a different view of the falls and access to many hiking trails.
After that, we went to the Deerhole viewpoint, where we saw black sand beaches and sea cliff formations. It was super windy here. We also saw Reynisfjara in the distance, which would be our next stop.
Reynisfjara Beach is a beautiful black sand beach that is bordered by basalt columns.
We had so much fun climbing the basalt columns, but make sure to be careful here. We ended the night in Vik, where we stayed at the Volcano Hotel. This was another really nice hotel. Day 4, starting in Vik and ending in Hoffen. On the way to our first official stop, we visited the Elderhorn lava fields. And that brings us to today's first destination, which has a particularly challenging name that I won't even try to pronounce, but it translates to Feather Canyon. This was definitely one of my favorite spots of the whole trip. It was so majestic and the jagged nature of the canyon was unreal.
Next, we drove on over to Vatnajökull National Park. Here we did the hike to Svartifoss.
While the waterfall and its surrounding basalt columns were stunning, the hike was a little strenuous for us.
Our third stop of the day was Jökulsárlón, a beautiful glacier lagoon.
It was so cool to see the huge blue chunks of ice protruding out of the water. Diamond Beach is located right next to the glacier lagoon, and it's where you can hold ice chunks.
Tonight, we stayed at Hotel Jökull, which was a comfortable accommodation.
Day 5, from Hoffen to Seyðisfjörður and the halfway point of our trip.
We started the day at Stokksnes Viking Village, which is basically an abandoned film set.
Next, in the same general area, was Stokksnes Beach. This place has really shallow water that you can walk on and has the majestic Vesterhorn Mountains as its backdrop. With good lighting, it reflects beautifully on the water.
As a pit stop to our next destination, we visited the Svartloft Lighthouse, which is this bright orange lighthouse basically in the middle of nowhere.
After lunch in Eaglestader, we made our way to Hengifoss, which at 128 meters is the third highest waterfall in Iceland. This is another mostly uphill, steep, and strenuous hike, but definitely a great end result.
We ended the day in Seyðisfjörður, a cute little town with another rainbow street.
In Seyðisfjörður, we stayed at Post Guest House. This was one of our smaller accommodations, but manageable for a one-night stay. Day 6, Seyðisfjörður to Akureyri. As we headed into the Mývatn area, our first stop was Viti Crater, which had the most beautiful turquoise lake at its base.
Next, we visited Verur, a geothermal area with a bunch of mud pots and steam vents. Definitely the perfect way to warm up on a chilly day.
With its vast, orange, desert-like expanse, this place looks like Mars, or something you would see in a post-apocalyptic world. It's kind of unreal. We stopped for a quick snack at Vågafjás Cafe, and let me tell you, you have to get the Vågafjás cake.
At the Dimmelberger lava fields, we saw some of the coolest volcanic rock formations out of the whole trip, including this made-for-pictures arch.
Our last stop today was Godafoss, a crescent-shaped waterfall that recedes into an impressively wide pool. We ended the day in Akureyri, the capital of North Iceland and the northernmost capital of the world. On day 7, we drove from Akureyri to Grundarfjörður, and our first stop was the Glumbar grass roof houses. These houses actually double up as a museum, with fully furnished rooms that mirror those of the 19th century.
There's also a cute little church right next to the houses. A little while later, we arrived at the Greybach crater. Unlike the Carrot and Viti craters, Greybach crater does not have a lake at its base.
There are quite a few steps you have to climb to get to the crater, but considering other hikes, it was one of the tamer walks. As we arrived into Grindarfjordur, it was slightly rainy, but we still attempted to visit Kirkjufell.
Tonight, we stayed at Kirkjufell Guest House. It was definitely our roomiest accommodation yet.
Day 8 was spent touring the Snæfellsnes Peninsula. We started off the day visiting Kirkjufell once again, this time with better weather.
We also saw the 2 waterfalls in front of the mountain, and it was truly a sight to see.
Next we went to the Helnar viewpoint, but unfortunately we didn't get to enjoy it as it was extremely rainy and windy.
So, we kept moving along to the Gatklutter Arch. Here, we also saw the stone sculpture called Bardur Snæfellsnes.
After a short coffee break, we tried our luck and visited Helnar viewpoint again.
The rain had thankfully stopped, and we were able to walk some of the trails.
The trails were surrounded by beautiful grassy lava rocks. Our last stop today was Budakirkja, a cute little black church in the middle of nowhere. It was surrounded by a beautiful mossy stone barrier. There are trails around this area that eventually lead to Buda Beach.
Our last hotel for this trip was Burgas Guest House, where we stayed for the final 2 nights in Iceland.
Day 9, our final day in Iceland. Our major activity today is something I have been so excited to do since we first got here. It is the Blue Lagoon, and it fully exceeded my expectations. The incredibly blue water, surrounded by black rocks, seemed like something out of a fairy tale. And to say this place is relaxing is an understatement. We enjoyed the face masks and drinks, and this whole attraction was an unforgettable experience, and, in my opinion, the perfect way to finish up our trip. There are also walking trails outside of the Blue Lagoon, where you can see the blue waters.
Later, we visited a few sites on the Reykjanes Peninsula, including the Bridge Between Continents, which is the divide between the North American and the Eurasian tectonic plates.
We also viewed the Reykjanes Lighthouse and took a short walk to the cliffs near the lighthouse. Here, we enjoyed views of dramatic sea cliffs and the crashing waves. Additionally, there is a movie prop here from Eurovision Song Contest, The Story of Fire Saga.
Next, we went to Gunnever Hot Springs, where we got to view a huge steam vent up close. We could hear the water hissing and see huge clouds of steam.
Sadly, all trips come to an end, and it was time for us to depart. We really enjoyed our trip to Iceland, and there was so much more that we could have seen.
Well, that's just reason to go back. And just like that, our trip to Iceland is over. If you like this video, make sure to give it a big thumbs up. And also don't forget to check out the music video that we filmed in Iceland. We'll link it in the description box down below and right here. Thanks for watching.